doing? Uh, I'm just logging on because I kind of want to see what everybody's doing and what everybody's up to, and I want to go ahead and say that the sound, I don't know if it's great or not, but I have a temporary mic solution. Uh, if you noticed, I did go live last time, but I didn't really discuss, or I I didn't keep it up. I should say, I'm sorry. I didn't keep it up simply because the sound was awful. So thanks to everybody who actually stayed on and logged on uh, put up with it. But it was pretty bad. Like I was hearing a lot of extra noise that I didn't want to hear, and I managed to isolate my voice a little bit better with this. But I'm not totally happy with it. Because I'm not using my first choice of what I would use for a mic, or even oh, um, where I'm at with how I'm using this mic. So anyway, I'm gonna stay on here and see if anybody logs on and joins the chat. But if nobody joins the chat, then I'm just going to go ahead and get off and delete this. But I thought I would discuss a couple of things that were of a lighthearted nature, nothing too nothing too serious, just some fun stuff that I'm looking forward to, and I thought would be fun to talk about. So anyway, yo, sup fucker, Shannon in the house. I think you're the only one here. I'll sit here and talk to you for a minute, but if nobody logs on, then I'm gonna get off this bitch and then delete this bullshit off my channel. So, anyway, so what are you up to tonight, Shannon? Why don't you tell us all what you're up to? What up, Scott? How you doing? How's everything down under? Um, yeah. Okay. Well, you say the sound is good. That's good. I tested I tested, I did like a test run with this thing, and it seemed to be okay, but not great. Um, yo, Irish in the house. It wasn't great, but I have to use like I'm using basically what I'm using right now is like a gaming headset uh, that my buddy happened to have, and I didn't think it was gonna work for this, but it turns out that it does, and it's not ideal as far as the sound that I would want to get from a mic, but it seems to be working okay, and I think I figured out a way to kind of make it sound a little bit better than what it was before. Um, hey, Lisa. Hey, what's up, Bee Stinger? Wow, long time no see. I've been doing pretty good. I've been doing pretty good, and you were promised nuggets. Yeah, you know what? I think I might actually talk about that on here, unless my better judgment tells me not to. Um, then, but it's a bit of an interesting story of what happened to me today. But I'll get into that a little bit later. Um, I'm I'm gonna talk about the fact that September 20th is coming up in just a couple of days. And that is significant for a couple of reasons. Reason one being that that is the day of the so-called storming of Area 51 in Roswell, New Mexico. So for those of you um, that do not live in the United States and that are listening to the channel right now, what you're thinking is correct. There are a shit ton of Americans who are blithering fucking idiots. So yeah, they are going to be trying to. I don't. I honestly, I don't even think anybody's going to show up because I haven't heard a fucking word about it in like a month at least. So I don't think. I don't really think anything's gonna happen with that. I don't even think anybody's gonna really show up. I feel like it's been the subject has died out so much that anybody who actually does show up is gonna look even more stupid than a bunch of people showing up. So there's gonna be like a few people that are gonna be there. They're oh I'm here, um, and then they're gonna feel really dumb. Um, See, I haven't heard that, Scott. I have not heard that the event was canceled, and uh, but yeah, I mean, you can't really cancel a shit ton of people that have just simply decided to show up to the same place. There's no way to actually cancel that, I don't think. Hey, Michelle. Um, yeah, I don't think you can actually cancel an event that isn't necessarily being coordinated and organized. Um, it's coordinated on social media where people have like checked into a thing, but I could post an event saying, "Hey, I'm gonna show up and to some street corner and talk about ice cream flavors." That doesn't mean that it's a legitimate event. I'll just post that and hope that people show up. So uh, I don't think anybody's actually trying to show up to this thing that that nobody's selling tickets for it is what I'm saying. So you know, uh, people are going to show up to this thing just thinking that it's the place to be at that moment. Um, and yeah, the original creator, I have heard that Shannon, that the original creator of this whole thing, um, and who started the hype on social media, he uh, he just decided that he realized that it was out of control and he meant it as a joke, but there are a whole lot of people that are obsessed with the idea of there being aliens. And Scott, I agree with you, which brings me to my next point. What brings me to my next point is that I there's if you're if you're really like an avid believer in the government hiding aliens and evidence of aliens, uh, then I would think that you would have some common sense in knowing you would have some common sense to apply to the idea that there's no there's no way that the government would just leave that evidence and advertise that in a place that's so well known. I mean, I talked about this before in a live a long time ago when the subject first came up. Um, I don't see why anyone with common sense would think that the government would keep this evidence that's supposed to be so secretive, or such a big secret, I should say, and in such a publicly, notoriously famous spot. Um, I mean, when you hear the words Area 51, literally my entire life. Okay, I'm 44 years old, and literally my entire life, I've heard the words Area 51, and I think aliens right off the bat. immediately. I think aliens. So, no, I don't think that the government is stupid enough to keep alien evidence uh, in Area 51. And if they hadn't moved it, I don't know, at least 30 years ago, if it was there in the first place, then this whole hyped up, so-called upcoming event, would automatically, I think, it would make them decide to move that evidence, I think. Um, and, you know, I, I'm honestly hoping that people show up to this thing, and I want to see how it turns out. And I hope nobody gets hurt. That's not what I'm saying. I genuinely hope that no one gets hurt from this, but I am hoping to see some kind of shit show. I'm hoping to see some kind of some kind of bullshit go down that's entertaining to us spectators. So, Scott, you're funny. So, Scott, you're saying the reason for high security on the base is they do live weapons tests. And you have been in aviation for 30 years. Um, and you know people who have contacted the base. Okay. Um, I, yeah, you know, common sense would simply dictate that, you know, drones are going to see people coming from miles and miles and miles away. Uh, so I don't think that anybody's even going to get even remotely close. You know, there's no way that people who believe in the first place that they're going to find evidence of aliens, or think that they can actually storm a military base and come out winning. Uh, I don't, there's no way that they're going to, uh, you know, that drones aren't going to be able to see these people coming a mile away, miles and miles away. So, yeah, Susie Pops, you're right. Common sense is extremely rare, um, which is kind of funny. I lack common sense in many ways too. Um, I do, um, but not when it comes to what I would more rather be doing um, on the 20th in a couple of days. Unfortunately, I'm going to be at work, but something that I find entirely more productive would be to go see the new Rambo movie on opening night, uh, which is this Friday, the 20th, same day as the Area 51. uh, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, the new Rambo, and some might be laughing at that, but see, I grew up on that franchise. You know, it's to me, it's an iconic Sylvester Stallone role. I've seen every movie. I've been a fan of every movie, and I know the difference between a good quality film and one that's not that great. I get, I'm not going to see a Rambo movie to see Oscar caliber performances and production. That's not what I'm going for a Rambo movie. That's not what I'm trying to get out of it. I'm trying to get some dope ass, kick ass, gory, uh, revenge fueled violence um, dramatized on screen. That's what I'm going for. I'm there to see Sylvester Stallone do it because he's really good at it. Um, Now, my number one. Sylvester Stallone franchise is easily the Rocky franchise. Not gonna lie about that. That's very common. A lot of people do. I'm a firm believer that every male between the ages of let's say let's say 8 to 18 um, should sit down once and watch at least once in their life. Doesn't matter. Actually, I take back the ages. Doesn't matter what age you are. I recommend those ages, but I recommend that everybody sit down and watch uh, Rocky 1 through 4. Uh, at least every male. Um, and that's not a it's not a gender thing. It's I'm not saying that women can't enjoy Rocky movies. It's just more of a rite of passage. I think a male can relate to the character a little bit better. Is all I'm saying. Um, but honestly, I think everybody should sit down and watch Rocky 1 through 4 at least once in their life. But I strongly feel that every male should do it. Absolutely. Um, I did that with my son, where we sat and we made a day out of it, and I think every father should do that with their son, um, at least once. It's a great experience. Now I love all the Rocky movies. I love 1 through the Creed films. The two Creed movies are fantastic. What do you mean, Susie Pops? That you're afraid it would give your son ideas? Watching Rocky movies? Yeah, of course. The idea is that it's going to give him ideas. The whole point is to give him ideas. You want to give him ideas. You want to teach him about the fact that it's never too late to follow your dreams and work really hard at it, which is what Rocky did in the first one. He had a shot to stand out. He was a fighter who was kind of washed up, and he turned to muscling people in gambling debts for a mob boss, but he had a big heart, and he really didn't like doing that. But and he was a fighter, and he wasn't a very great fighter, but he ended up training real hard because he got a shot to take on the champ. The champ decided to give him a shot, give a nobody from Philly, a shot, and he went the distance with him. And there's a lot of life lessons in that. So yeah, that should absolutely give your son ideas, um, and all of them, all of them. Rocky's way of training and his mindset and his parenthood style and the style that he had fighting and the attitude that he had taking on this persona of his, um, being the best person that he could possibly be. This this is uh, this is a great example. You know, he was a great husband too. Uh, Rocky was just a beautiful example of someone who does not have to be book smart to be very very wise and to inspire others to be valuable to not just others but themselves. Rocky had a beautiful the Rocky franchise has a beautiful way of doing that, and Sylvester Stallone did that um, intentionally, and he did it very very well. When he wrote Rocky, the first one, he wrote the screenplay, and he he was really struggling at the time. He was struggling really really hard. Living in a really really small apartment, he was a struggling actor. Nobody wanted to hire him because he had a weird, you know, he had a weird sounding voice, and he had a crooked mouth, and this just didn't fly as far as Hollywood leading men go. So he couldn't really get the kind of work that he wanted in the 70s. And then he writes the screenplay, and the film production company offered him, I think it was something like $300,000 for the script, and he turned it down because he insisted on playing the lead role himself. That in itself, just the production of Rocky is inspiring. The fact that he was in his 30s and just decided this is what I'm going to do, and he just went all in on it. He went all in on it, and look at him now. And so the Rambo franchise is just kind of a spin-off of that, and it's just fun shit, and I can't wait to watch it. I can't wait to watch the last installment of it. Um, and he's gonna die. I'm calling it right now. It's not a spoiler because I haven't seen the movie. I don't know anything about the movie, but since it's the last one, I'm calling it. I think John Rambo's gonna die at the end of it. He's gonna die saving somebody that he loves. I'm just curious as to how they're gonna go about this. So I'm excited about the new Rambo movie a lot. And so another movie that I'm extremely, extremely excited about is the Joker movie. And it's funny because I'm having a lot of mixed reasons as to why I'm looking forward to it. Um, and yes, Scott, you're right, man. Burgess Meredith's performance in Rocky as Mickey is fantastic. It's it's hilarious. Their dynamic is really amazing. But getting back to what I was saying, the Joker with Joaquin Phoenix coming up. Now, I'm excited about this because Todd Phillips is directing it, and he helped write it too. I don't remember who the other co-writer is, but I know he's writing it, or he wrote it with another guy, and Todd Phillips is also directing it. And you'll know Todd Phillips from The Hangover, from Old School, um, those comedies, those kind of raunchy early 2000s to now comedies. And I I love those movies. He's done a couple that I'm not a real, you know, that I'm not too crazy about, but I'm excited to see what he does with a serious story, and his take on this character, because I'm a huge Batman fan. Uh, I've always been a big Batman fan. I've always wanted to see the perfect Batman movie, which I have yet to see. The closest thing to it is probably, at least uh, the take on the character is probably I don't know, man. I was about to say the Michael Keaton Batman, but I don't know, man. I, Christopher Nolan's vision for Batman was pretty great. Probably, yeah. It's got to be the best for sure. Um, or at least my favorite. And Heath Ledger definitely was a great Joker. Um, and and I don't want to look at this character at this point, how many ways it's been taken, like, or portrayed on screen. I don't want to look at the Joker as, which actor was the best. I have my favorites, but I don't have a favorite, honestly, because I thought Jack Nicholson was perfect. There was nobody better to play Joker at the time. Um, there was nobody better than Jack Nicholson, and I'm also a huge Jack Nicholson fan. Um, but there was nobody better to play the Joker, I thought, at the time. And and when I first heard Heath Ledger was playing the Joker, when I first heard he was cast, I was furious. I was like, oh, they're not doing anything, you know, they're not taking this seriously at all. and I was dead wrong. I was dead wrong, and I was so happy that I was wrong because The Dark Knight is fantastic, and Heath Ledger's Joker was incredible. Um, Let me see what you're saying here, Scott. They are supposed to introduce the Frank Miller version of the new cameo of new Batman in the new Joker movie. I don't doubt that happening, but from what I've read online, uh, this doesn't have anything to do with any existing Batman franchises or future franchises regarding Batman. This is its own thing, its own DC take on the DC universe. Kind of like kind think of it like Elseworlds. Like Marvel has their version of Elseworlds, which is called What If, and they're actually doing a What If movie that's coming up. But Elseworlds is DC's take on that, and I think that's kind of what this is. It's kind of just an Elseworlds as far as the DC EU. It's I think that's what they're doing here. It's its own thing. But I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to see it because it's getting mixed reviews. It's getting really really good reviews, and it's getting really bad reviews, and that just makes me super curious. I love when shit like that happens in the media because that forces me to inevitably come up with my own opinion completely uninfluenced, and I love when that happens. So I'm really really looking forward to finding out my own opinion of this movie. Um, I honestly don't know what to expect of it. Um, but I'm super duper duper looking forward to this. Um, and it's and yeah, I love the trailers, right, Scott? Yeah, I the trailers do look good. I love the trailers, and what I'm getting is a guess that I'm gonna have. I'm gonna take a guess here as far as a part of the storyline is. I think the way that they're gonna go with explaining his laughter, his cackle, is almost like a Tourette's thing. It's like a nervous tick, and he just laughs hysterically and can't help it. Um, that's kind of what I'm getting out of the trailers, and I think that's a really, really interesting explanation for why the Joker does that. Uh, so I'm really hoping to see something extremely twisted. I love that it has an R rating because I don't think that you can actually capture the Joker, um, the essence of how twisted the Joker can be without, at the very least, a PG-13 rating. Like people have to die uh, around this guy. He's a really, really, really bad dude. Um, and and I love what my favorite thing about the Batman universe, because again, he's my favorite comic book character. I love Batman graphic novels. I've read so many of them, um, and my favorite observation that I've made growing up and reading all these comic books is Batman is just as uh, disturbed as the Joker. He's just not homicidal, but he's completely obsessive. Um, so I'm fascinated with Batman. He's 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 absolutely and totally obsessive, and and he's a complete and total perfectionist, and he might even be a total narcissist, which is totally crazy. Um, but I love that about him. I love that about him because it makes him very human. And I love that that aspect of him sets him apart from all the other superheroes in the DC universe, or even the Marvel universe. I mean, he's on his own. You know, I mean, there's Daredevil and stuff like that, but he has these heightened senses, and whatever. Batman is he's just a naturally extremely smart person as far as the DC universe goes. Batman, or Bruce Wayne, is the smartest human being alive. Uh, the only person to counter that would probably be Lex Luthor, but he has his own. Uh, but he's totally nuts. Batman's totally fucking nuts. He just The only reason he doesn't kill criminals is because he's obsessed with the idea of not killing them, which I find fascinating. I don't think he actually has any feelings about it one way or the other. Um, so as far as this Joker movie that's coming up, I'm really excited about the fact that again, like I said, Todd Phillips is directing it, and he's taking this to a really dark place, and it's not really his style, and I'm really curious to see what he does with this character. See, Scott, I disagree. I don't think that Bale was a good Batman. I thought Michael Caine was perfect as Alfred, sure, but I don't think Christian Bale was a good Batman. Now, I think that the Dark Knight series is fantastic. I think they're great. They're very well written, very well directed, and very well acted. I just don't like Christian Bale as Batman. I thought he was a perfect Bruce Wayne. I thought he was great as Bruce Wayne. But the voice, was way over the top, and he had a lisp, and the way his face looked in that mask just annoyed me when he talked. Um, so yeah, I couldn't get into that, man. I couldn't get into it. That always bothered me. It was the only thing of those movies that bothered me. I thought the cinematography was amazing. I even liked the fight scenes. I used to think that the fight scenes in Batman Begins were shot too close and you couldn't really see what what was going on. Um, and so I felt kind of cheated out of cool Batman fight sequences. But um, I think that was I think what Nolan was trying to do, watching it later on and seeing the Dark Knight and the Dark Knight Rises. Um, I think what he was trying to do was create that mystery and try to make the audience experience to a certain degree what the villains were experiencing. There was just too much happening, too much too fast, and before you know it, you got your ass kicked, and you don't know what the hell happened or who the hell it was because the idea of Batman didn't even exist yet. Nobody heard of it. He was new. Batman Begins. That's the whole point of the title. Um, uh, but I think that they were extremely well executed. All the movies, other than Batman's, you know, voice and yeah, that bugs me. But I definitely again am very much looking forward to the Joker and can't wait for that. So um, I I had an interesting night at work, which I'll tell you about. Uh, I got written up. And for those of you who don't know what it means to be written up at your job, it is when you receive a written warning uh, for it's a reprimand, and it's on record that you have been warned verbally and in written form. for a violation of company policy. So it's very interesting how that happened. Um, and it's not a big deal, and I'll explain why it's not really that big a deal. Um, so I work, as most of you know, I work at the front desk of a a fitness club, of a gym, right? And when you work the front desk of any establishment, your job is basically to be the face, right? Um, so it's me and a few other people because we do a lot of things. We a lot of our job is documentation. People will come in, they may not have their scan card, so we have to document who they are and why they didn't have their scan card. It entails a few things. A lot of it's documentation, but a lot of it is also just standing there and not doing jack shit. Um, because there's only so much to do. Um, so basically, um, uh, there are people in the company because it's not just one club. There's several clubs owned by the same company, and the people in the corporate office, naturally, if you're being paid by the hour, they naturally want you to stay busy to some degree, which is understandable. It's not unreasonable. Now, we don't get paid very much, but I'm of the opinion that we get paid fairly for what we do, because the job that we have, the work that my job entails, is not hard work. It's not even really tedious work. And it's kind of stressful. It can be stressful, but if it is stressful, it's only stressful for a very short period of time. So it's very quick that the stressful part is over. The stressful part never lasts the entire shift. It just doesn't. So again, a lot of it is just simply standing around. And there was a very slow moment last night where I was standing around. Uh, the person next to me was on one of the computers looking at videos on YouTube, and the person next to him on the other side of him was sitting on a little footstool that is kind of a no-no. It's put back there so people can kind of put their foot on it. But to sit on it behind the counter where nobody can see you, that's a no-no. So, and someone saw us doing that, but they saw me with my back turned to the front, and my feet were crossed, and I was on my cell phone. I don't know. I could have been playing a game. I could have been texting someone. I don't know what I was doing at the time. And somebody snapped a picture of this. Uh, and originally, I thought that it was a member. Uh, and it turns out that it was not a member. It was an employee. So, um, I didn't really think about it. I just assume things like that are going to happen. Um, I just assume that there's always somebody with a bug up their ass and they just got to, start some shit, because they're having a bad day or whatever, you know. Uh, you know, uh, could be a number of reasons why somebody would just go out of their way to do something so petty, so childish, really, to be honest. Now, this person could be justifying in their mind, hey, well, I'm in a position of authority, and I I care about where the company's money is going. So if you guys are just standing around and you don't have anything to do, then you should find something to do and make sure that your hourly rate is not going to waste. make sure that the company, and I understand this, I get this, because that's valid, that's true, you know. So technically, they could expect us to stay busy, whether it's just wiping something with a rag, whatever, you know. There's all kinds of things that we could be doing to stay busy at an hourly rate. But first of all, our hourly rate is not very high. But also, counter to that thought, one might argue that it's the rate that we agreed to when we were hired. And so we're expected to do a job because we agreed at that rate, right? So, and that's, again, that's not unreasonable. That's not unreasonable at all. But the thing is the people in a higher position, most of them, they understand because they actually, a lot of them started off at the position where I'm at right now. So these people in a position of authority understand how that job is, and they understand, hey, we can't be expected to, you know, stay busy the entire time. You know, it doesn't pay a lot. You know, if they're doing a good job, if the people are doing a good job, you know, give them some chill time, some unspoken leeway, a little bit of rope. You know, um, so, Minon, I'm actually going to get to that point, but I agree with you. So, yeah, I get that. So, yeah, I get, you know, you feel strongly about the company, right? You feel strongly about where the money's going because you yourself are kind of in a position of authority. But if you are actually in this so-called position of authority that you say that you're in, or that you think that you are in, I think that one could also argue that instead, and if you're trying to earn the respect of the people that supposedly work under you, I would think that you would address them directly and say, hey, why is everyone standing around? See, but I think that the reason why this person did not do that, the reason why this person did not exude and express their authority was simply because they honestly didn't believe that they actually had that authority. They want to believe that they have that authority. They like the idea of having that authority because they are in a particular management position, but in a position that does not entail the front desk department. In a position that is separate. It is a completely separate entity than the front desk department. The front desk department has a supervisor. So, so why wouldn't this person do that? Again, I believe that it's because this person doesn't actually truly deep down believe that they are in that position of authority. And that's why they went, they secretly took a photo. That's why they sat there and pretended to get along with us and wonder what we were doing and make small talk and conversation with us, you know, acting like they were, you know, part of the crew, so to speak, right? But then, you know, secretly taking photos of things and then going, and not only going to people who are in a position of authority, but going over the heads of the people whose immediate position of authority existed. So why not? Why not do that? Why even go over those managers' heads? So yeah, it was sneaky, and frankly, it was fucking gross. It was fucking gross. You know? So now here's the thing. What this person doesn't realize that they just all they did was just shoot themselves in the foot. That's all they did. Because now this person, we all know who it was. It was obvious because they were the only person hanging out when we were all sitting in that position. And I saw the photograph. The photograph there was a there was a large printout of the photograph that was stapled to my write-up sheet. I guess to be kept as evidence of what we were doing. That's you know. Um, So thank you, Shannon. Is this better? That's what I was worried about. That's what I didn't like about the sound before. The sound before was like getting, um, yeah. So I had it. That's probably why, because I'm messing with it right now. Sorry about that. If you're hearing weird noises. Anyway, so I, I what this person doesn't realize, I don't think that they thought it through very well because um, now now they don't have any support from that entire department. The department of the club that I work in is the heart and soul of the club. You know, now we're not, nobody's gonna, like, I'm not talking about there's gonna be some sort of coup against her and we're not gonna do anything to help her out. We're gonna do whatever benefits the club. Our job is to do what benefits the club, and we're always gonna do that. you know I have a work ethic to where you pay me to do something, I'm gonna do it. you know Maybe I'll get on my phone and text somebody, sorry. But ultimately, the job that you're paying me to do, I promise you, you're going to get that. It's going to get done, and it's going to be done well. You're going to get that from me, I promise you. If you pay me to do a job, you're going to get that best performance that I can give. So, you know um but yeah, if there's not jack shit going on and I got a minute to send a text, you know or I've literally just wiped down everything and filled up everything and restocked everything and caught up on all the documentation that needed to be done, then you know what? I might play around a Candy Crush. It just might happen. you know, I might play a sniper game that I've got on my phone. I might play a little poker. So it might happen. You know, might look up something on YouTube. So this whole thing, you know, uh, now it was obvious who it was, and now nobody trusts this person. And on top of everything else, management has to be pissed off at the fact that she went over their head. You know, management has to be mad about this. I mean, or at least not feel good about it. So you know, so now you possibly made the workplace, you know, more uncomfortable for yourself. What? Why would you do that? For what? You know. Now I get it. I get it if somebody was stealing. I get if somebody was like doing something really shitty, something really shady and fucked up, and you know who it was. Then yeah, absolutely, put him the fuck out there. Let me catch a thief. You know. Let me catch somebody stealing money. For sure. But uh, you know what I'm saying? People kind of just standing around because there's nothing else to do, and then we're making small talk, and we get along as coworkers. We're not talking about anything inappropriate. We're not doing anything wrong. We can't, you know what I mean? We can't enjoy our job. We can't like our job. Is that what bothered that person? Was that they saw that we like our job? Is that what was going on? And yeah, and I'm looking at these comments, and I get it. Snitches, blah 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 blah. Right. And yes, you know, that sounds crazy. Snitching on your coworkers has consequences, and honestly, in a professional work environment, which is what I work in a professional work environment, snitching on your coworkers has simply the consequence of your coworkers a finding out about it, realizing who it was, because the reason why is because we genuinely feel hurt and betrayed, because that environment is like a family. I love working at this place because I get along with everybody there. And now there's somebody there that just doesn't belong, and it's gross and it feels gross. And it just ruins everything in that sense. You know what I mean? And so so that's disappointing, you know. But the consequences are that that person now is the odd person out. You know, you're excluded from that circle of trust and personable. Now we're afraid of what we're going to do around you. Now we're afraid of what we're going to say around you. And that sucks. I don't want to walk into work and I'm the smelly guy. You know what I mean? Now you're the smelly kid in school. You know what I'm saying? that's that's fucking bullshit. Why would you do that to yourself? That's basically what this person did. This person basically shit themselves, right? And you know, and it's just now they got to walk around. Now they got to walk around stinking like shit. So whatever, man. you know, it sucks for you. It sucks for you. So, but anyway, yeah, that was my interesting day at work, and it really sucks because here's the thing: is right now the staff. This is okay. I talked about this a couple of times. Um, I got passed up for for the position that I had interviewed for the front desk supervisor. But here's the thing: the guy who got it, he he was already qualified for it. I was told that he wasn't going to go for it, so that's why I threw my hat in the ring. But I was happy to find out that he was the one to end up getting it. Um, and he's done an excellent job, and he's created a really strong team, and he leads this team very, very well. Um, he shows us all a lot of respect. He's very, very easygoing with the schedule. He's real easygoing about policy. He picks his battles. He sees us all for our strengths, and he doesn't harp on our weaknesses. And he's just a real easy guy to work for. And he makes it easy to want to work hard for him. And that's extremely important to me. That's a leader, and he's shown that he's an extremely strong leader, and I'm happy to work under him. And the rest of the team is really happy to work under him, and he treats us like we're a team. And naturally so. He's also a basketball coach. He coaches kids basketball, so he's really good at that. So he kind of, I think he applies a lot of the same principles um, to supervising our department. And uh, so now, uh, the thing with that is he's now that he's built this really good team, management sees this, and when something like this happens, they look at it like, man, really? We got to write up some of our best people over this, you know, because obviously when they're put in a position to have to do something about people not executing policy, they have to do it. They're cornered into doing it, you know. They can't just blow it off, because then that says the message. You can do whatever you want. And, you know, so they were cornered into doing something about it, and now and it couldn't even be handled in house because it was taken over the heads of anybody in charge in house. They went to the corporate office. Uh, so, and yeah, you're right, Michelle. They are getting what they deserve. which is that they're not going to be trusted. And that's good enough for me, you know. And it kind of saddens me because I actually thought that I had a kind of a close relationship with this person. Um, and so I'm kind of disappointed at how that turned out. Um, and So it genuinely hurt me that I couldn't trust this person. It genuinely, disappointed me that I was put in a position to where I couldn't trust this person. Um, because this was the kind of person that comes off like you can talk to them about anything, you know. Um, and I'm careful about not getting too personal with people, you know. So anything that I've told her is nothing that I wouldn't really care if it got around, but it's still stuff that I don't really talk about. And so like I've confided in certain facts about my life with this person, and so I don't feel bad for doing it, and I don't regret doing it, but it's disappointing that I no longer have that person to do that with anymore. Knowing that, it's disappointing. Hey, Shelly, it's good to see you. Yeah, Michelle, you're right. Your mom would be correct in calling that. You say that your mom calls them shit stirrers. Uh, and yeah, that's pretty much because that's the only thing that I could think of was the objective was to stir shit up for what? And people who do this are in my experience pretty poisonous people. So, um, and it's okay. It just sucks that, like I said, it's disappointing when you find out that somebody's not who you thought they were. So, and that's all it is. You know. So Michelle, you saying you left your last job after 7 years because of a new shitty coworker? Yeah, man. I mean, that's the thing. And here's the other reality of that. I don't give a fuck where you work, what you do. I I feel confident in saying that there's always somebody like that. There's always that one person that's like that in the workplace. I've never worked a place where there wasn't one. I've never worked in a place where there wasn't one. Um, and shit, there's probably been times in my not so better days where I was that one person and I'm completely oblivious to it even now, but it's possible because here's the thing is I think that these people are oblivious to this fact. I think again, I talk about this a lot. I think people do shitty things, and then when they do shitty things, they know they're shitty, and then they find a way to justify them in their mind. And I think that this person, honestly, had some really strange justification for their actions. Um, and it is what it is. What are you gonna do? You know. So, um, so yeah, man. Um, uh, so yeah, my day was disappointing, but at the same time, it was also relieving. It's also the silver lining to that is the thing to have gratitude for. The aspect of this situation to have gratitude for is that I'm relieved. I'm relieved because I know something now that I didn't know before. Because it's not that this person just all of a sudden became this way. That doesn't happen. This person was always this way, and now I know that they are. So there it is. So I'm very grateful for that. I'm very grateful for that. Um, and Yeah, and I've strayed off of the subject of the subject matter of what this channel is supposed to be about, and uh, and that is the Glarer uh, acronym, and gratitude being the first thing. Um, and yeah, I'm definitely grateful for that. And also, yeah, my coworker that I'm working with, because I've gone through a few people that have gone through closing shifts with me. But this is one person that I don't have any gripes about. He's a 21-year-old kid. He's super smart, really, really, and like self-educated too, which is really interesting. Um, uh, he seems to take interest in things and then like really go overboard with them. And which I find fascinating. And I'm not even saying that in even remotely a negative way. Sorry, excuse me. It's late. Um, but yeah, he so uh, right now we're both really into like exercise, and it's really fun to kind of pick each other's brains as far as nutrition and things like that go. And uh, I'm dieting right now, um, and it's it's pretty difficult, but I'm getting the hang of the diet, and I have this new, very very strange venture that I'm gonna go ahead and share with you guys. Um, I've done intermittent fasting before, and I'm going to do that again, and I'm gonna do it for, in theory, for now the plan is a week, so I'm gonna do it for at least a week, um, and then ultimately my objective is to prove that you don't need food to find the energy to exercise. uh, so there's that. Um, so yeah, um, I have a theory that I can find uh, other sources of energy that are not from food nourishment. Um, I honestly think that one can be fueled by the energy of their surroundings, their immediate environment. So I'm really really interested in that, because that happens to me, and I think that there are times where I don't even have the money to eat, but I still find the strength to exercise. And I have to be real careful with this because I don't want anyone who's listening to this to think that they could just stop eating and then go and run a mile. That's no way. I think my theory entails the idea that you would have to adjust to this. You would have to kind of ease into it. You can't just snap your fingers and just decide I'm going to stop eating and I'm still going to have energy. No, it doesn't work that way. There's no way that that can work. Um, it's totally unsafe, and I don't recommend it. That's not what I'm saying to do. I'm not even recommending that anyone do what I plan on doing, but I plan on proving it to myself. I'm not. I should reword it. I plan on proving to myself that I don't need food um, to get a full workout uh, and not get too tired to where I cannot meet my physical goal. So, um, if food gives you energy, then I think that other sources of energy can be can be utilized by your body to run. And I think that there are sources of energy in everything. Everything is a source of energy. Um, so I'm going to I'm going to kind of dabble in this and see where it takes me. That's the plan. Um, so yes, it's very. I'm not trying to disprove that if you stop eating and then you work out, you could get lightheaded and you can pass out and it could be very dangerous. And if not enough oxygen gets to your brain, it can cause brain damage and irreversible brain damage. And so I do not recommend doing that. Don't do that. But I do think that your body can slowly adjust. I think that it can adapt to what it can adapt to uh, limited resources, to having limited resources for energy. So that's what I'm gonna look into. So I'm actually really excited about that. I'm super duper excited about that. I'm really I'm enjoying where that's going, and I just told my coworker about this today, and it was funny because he was kind of like he looked at me kind of like I was crazy, um, and then just I don't know if he kept quiet to refrain from calling me crazy, or to or because he thought that he was curious of what the outcome would be. And yes, Manon, I totally agree with you. Yes, you can totally adapt. If there's any truth to Darwin, um, then yes, you can absolutely adapt. So yeah, um, I think I'm all caught up with you guys as far as what I wanted to go over tonight and talk with you. I had a really fun time as I normally do. Um, so I am going to be calling it a night soon. I'm going to look over the chat one more time real quick and um, see if there's anything else that I may have missed that I feel the overwhelming need to comment on. And yeah, so oh yeah, I did delete my last live, um, but I did mention at the end of it. Uh, I mentioned Minon, who's one of my mods, and she's fantastic. Um, she has become one of my favorite people, and or virtually favorite people because I don't know her. I don't know anybody in this little world. Um, but in my own way, I love everyone, and uh, probably for the same reasons you love me, and I'll take it. It's great. But anyway, um, so my mods and I, um, who are also admins of my group, which is called The Glare. Also, it is a Facebook group. You're free to join if you like. It is a closed group, but you can request, and chances are we're going to accept you. Um, and it you can tell because it has the same little artwork that I'm using for the channel right now. Um, yeah. Anyway, um, we have a chat. My mods, admins, and I, we have a chat, a Facebook Messenger chat where we communicate, discuss ideas, but mostly we just talk a bunch of bullshit. And we kind of discuss our lives and whatnot. And Minon, man, she has had a fucked up week. I'm not going to get into what she's gone through, but it's a lot, man. And uh, I wanted to publicly tell her that I am totally crazy about her, and I am totally, totally grateful for her place on this channel and in my group, and I'm proud to call her a friend, and just hang in there, man. It gets better. It's I think what you're going through right now is just one of those fucking when it rains it pours kind of things, man. And it's a bitch, you know, and you just gotta hang in there, man. Just try to stay rational, you know. It's like I said in the chat, just you know, it sucks. This is part of the reason why I'm saying this verbally is because when you're discussing these things in a group text chat thing, things you know come off kind of cold. I come off pretty cold when I'm texting because sometimes I don't feel like typing a lot. Other times I don't feel like typing or sending a voice message. And sometimes I just don't feel like texting or typing at all. Um, and so I come off a little cold and a little distant, and I don't mean to. Um, but I did tell her, you know, try to stay logical, you know, and and stay rational no matter what you do. And I cannot express that enough. Um, it sounds like a very simple and almost dismissive way of handling things, especially when you don't know what you know what I'm talking about. Uh, but I truly believe that you know that's part of the whole Glera thing. I apply this shit to everything in my life, man. I apply this shit to everything. So um, I truly, honestly believe that when you're having these horrible things happening to you, no matter how bad they are, you know, and it applies to good things too. When great things are happening to you, there's a way of mishandling great things and not handling them rationally and not handling them logically. That's gonna fuck you up. Um, so uh, you know, just that's I. So I stand by my advice. Just think, think, think logically and behave rationally, no matter what happens. No matter what's going on, apply logic and rationality to it, and you'll get through it. You'll at least get through it in the best possible way that you can. You know. So, uh, so yeah, love you, Manon, a lot, and you know, you know how we all feel about you. So, anyway, yeah, man, logic and rationality, man. Apply it. I promise. It's gonna get you through this. It's you know the other stuff will make it easier. Try to find things to have gratitude for. You know, try to be empathetic to the other people that are involved in your situation, and you know, and just accept the fact that it's happening. You know, that sounds fucked up, but just accept the fact that it's happening. You know, and try to adapt to it. Apply all these things. You know, and be resilient. That's it. Apply all these things. Apply all these things, and and your situation, your overall situation, will be easier, and you'll get through it in the best possible way that the outcome could be. Will be the best possible way that it can be. So anyway, lots of love to all you guys. Thanks so much for listening, and yeah, I like doing these sometimes, man. I like doing these little no real subject matter, just dumb shit that I think about here and there. Rambo movie, Joker movie. I'm stoked about them. Roswell, New Mexico. Anybody who's doing that, you're a fucking idiot, and I mean that with the biggest, biggest heart. It's nothing but love coming at you. I urge you to rethink it. If you have got plans, if you booked a hotel and you packed a tent or whatever, and you took time off work, what the fuck ever you did to prepare for this, it's nothing that can't be undone. Maybe you lost a little bit of money. So what? But I implore you, do not put yourself in such a dumb position. I implore you. It is the dumbest thing you could do. So, yeah. Uh, don't go to Roswell. Don't storm Area 51. Don't even show up. It's galactically stupid. Please don't do that. Um, so, um, yeah. Anyway, uh, yeah. I like talking about just this dumb shit with you guys sometimes. So thanks for listening when I actually have no serious subject matter because I don't want to talk about serious deep shit all the time. No, yo, I didn't say Siri, idiot. Shut the fuck up. Anyway, love you guys, and we will be chatting very, very soon. Have a good night, guys. Thanks again.